Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me. Let me just straighten this all out here for a sec here. Still out in the family room. My wife is asleep. My office is back there. I don't want to disturb her. She's sick. Uh, this is the weekly newsletter for Easy Astronomy, March 8th to March 14th, 2026. Here you can see the lunar calendar as I always put it up here. This week we're going from a waning gibbous at 72, 73%. All the way down to a waning crescent at 17.9%. So the moon's going to get uh, dimmer and dimmer and rise later and later as we go through the week this week. I'm going to try to rearrange the newsletter a little bit, try to condense it a little bit. I'm going to put the astronomical highlights in here. I just felt there was some redundancy in the newsletter before where I'd make my comments and then go into the highlights. I might as well just go into the highlights. So this week, transitioning period for the night sky. The blockbuster lunar eclipse, hope you got out and were able to see it, is now past. We still have some excellent planetary pairings and the arrival of galaxy seasons upon us now as the moon begins to wane this month in March. It's also time for Messier marathons. We'll talk about that briefly. We also introduce on this Sunday, March 8th, daylight savings time is back, unfortunately. Not my favorite thing in the world, personally. I would love just to stay on standard time like Arizona does and be done. We spring forward, so to speak, so we lose an hour of sleep. It also means that instead of the sun setting about 6:30, 6:40 right now, we're looking at 7:30, 7:40, at least here in northern Utah, probably a little bit different where you are later as you go farther north, right? Anyway, uh, it does give you more time if you're working to get out, get set up, and to observe. But it also means you either stay later and are tireder the next day at work, or you take the next day off, or it's a shorter window. You only maybe get 3 hours of observing in before you have to pack up and come back home. Anyway, it just depends where you're at. We're going to be doing that from now through June. I know here in northern Utah, as we get to the summer solstice in June, we're not starting to observe till almost 11 o'clock at night, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night when that happens. Anyway, let's go through the planetary highlights this week. March 8th brings us to a Venus-Saturn conjunction. It's the key event for naked eye observing this week. Look low towards the western horizon about 30 minutes after sunset, up to about 45 minutes after sunset. Venus will appear brilliant as it always does in the night sky, and Saturn will be just about zero point 0.9 degrees away with a much dimmer yellowish color to it. You can use binoculars, really, that's kind of the tip for here to help you to bring Saturn out of the twilight glare. March 11th, Jupiter resumes forward motion. It ends its retrograde, its westward motion on that day, on Wednesday. Truly, Jupiter remains the king of the night sky right now, as it's up in Gemini. Look for it high to the south at sunset, and you can still capture some, wonderful views of the planet and its four Galilean moons through a small telescope or a very bright instrument. March 14th, Mars meets Mercury. Going to be an early morning event on this. It's a fun challenge for this week. If you get up early, you can look toward the east-southeast about 45 minutes before sunrise. Mars and Mercury will be in conjunction, only separated by about 2 degrees. They'll be very low on the horizon and may require binoculars to see and spot against the rising sun. Lunar schedule this week, and we'll get more into this in a minute. It's currently leaving the scene, so to speak, and so that's a great news for imagers and visual observers and interested in going after fainter deep sky objects, galaxies, nebula, etc. The chart shows that by Wednesday, March 11th, midweek, as the moon reaches last quarter, it doesn't rise until around midnight. And that gives those of us going out to observe, or if we're set up and ready to go, basically 7:30 to midnight to observe and then come home as the moon comes up. Hopefully, maybe I can get one night in this week. That's my hope. Anyway, deep sky and meteors, it's galaxy season's beginning. With the moon reaching its last quarter on Wednesday evening, the sky becomes dark enough to again hunt for those faint galaxies. Look toward the constellations of Leo, Virgo, Coma Berenices, and Ursa Major for the realm of the galaxies. As an FYI, in my free time, I'm finishing up an observing guide to Virgo. kind of similar to my other ones. And we'll then move on to Como Pernicious and Ursa Major. Hopefully, it depends on the weather. It snowed the last 2 days, but the snow's melted already. We had a couple inches here last night, and it's gone already. When I get done with this podcast, I'm gonna go do my swim. But anyway, if it's cloudy and I can't get out, I'll have more time to finish the Como Bernicius and Ursa Major one. I will get Virgo out this week, though, so look for that. Again, if you're a member, you get the full version. So if you haven't signed up to be a member of the site, please do so. You get notified when I post things, and then you'll be able to start seeing more and more of things. I also post my videos that I make when I travel out and set up and stuff like that and come back. We have a minor meteor shower this week, the Gamma Normids meteor shower. It's a minor shower. It's not really big for the northern hemisphere. It's mainly a southern hemisphere uh, observers' delight, so to speak. A few of us out at night might catch a few shooting stars, maybe 6 an hour if we're at a dark sky and a moonless sky. Uh, it's Messier Marathon time, like I've said, I mentioned earlier. Many enjoying March planning and doing a Messier Marathon. It's one night. Some people do it in two. Most people, a Messier Marathon is a one-night event, and you see all 110 Messier objects in that single night. I'll be doing a post on it later this week. I've done it 3 times. It's probably been over 10 years, 12 years, whatever, 2026. It's been almost 14 years. It's been 14 years since I last did one. It's not my cup of tea. I like having what I'm going to go for and taking my time and really being targeted on that. If you haven't done one, then hopefully my post later this week will help you with that. Comments this week, again, you can use Skyhound. That's my go-to. Got the link there for it, as I always will in the newsletter. And again, comment information at Starwalk. About 3 comments that I can mention this week to go over. Comet C2025A1 Maps. It's the best imaging target this week. It's about magnitude 11.8 right now. It's moving across the constellation of Cetus. On March 9th, it's going to be positioned near a group of galaxies in Cetus, which would make an excellent wide field imaging opportunity or sketching opportunity. This is a sun grazing comet. It's expected to brighten significantly by April. For now, to visually observe it requires a small to medium sized telescope and a clear view to see it because Cetus is pretty low. Comet 24P Shumas is probably the best for binoculars right now. It's predicted to get around magnitude 9 to 10 this week, so it's really starting to brighten. It appears this week to be relative stationary to the constellation of Serpens near the star, and I'm going to massacre this Unikaha. It's currently moving away from the Earth and the Sun, yet it remains a bright enough object for binoculars or a small telescopes in a dark sky this week. And then you have Comet 88P Howell. It's a good morning challenge. It's expected to reach magnitude 9 by mid-March. This is best viewed by southern hemisphere observers again, or imagers, since it remains very low on the horizon for us in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern United States, Mexico, you might want to give it a try. Look for it low in the east before dawn if you're trying to view or image it. And then, of course, we'll put the fourth one there, Comet C2024 E1 Wirchos. This is a fading target. Its current brightness is estimated at about magnitude 10.5, and it continues to steadily dim after its January perihelion, and it still features a notable gas tail that can be captured by long exposure imaging. Pretty good one there. Lunar observing for this week, March 8th to 14th. The best lunar opportunities involve close encounters with bright stars and transitions to dark skies. March 8th, we begin the waning gibbous at 76%. It's going to be near Zubinagubi, the Scorpion's Claw, the constellation of Libra. March 10th, the moon will pass extremely close to the red supergiant Antares in Scorpius, less than 1 degree apart there. Best craters this week, Copernicus is best viewed early in the week, March 8th to March 9th. This crater is massive. It's a complex with high terrace walls and a magnificent central peak. But even after the Terminator has passed by on it, its extensive ray system is really highly visible and much worth the effort to go and observe. Clavis is another favorite, best viewed midweek, March 10th to 11th. located in the southern highlands. It's one of the largest craters on the moon. It's famous for a curving chain of smaller craters in its floor that decrease in size. They're wonderfully highlighted by the long shadows of the waning moon right now. So another good one. Archimedes is best viewing is near last quarter around Wednesday or Thursday, 11th or 12th. This crater is located on the edge of Mare Iribium, the Sea of Rains. This nearly perfect circular crater has a very smooth, flat floor. During the last quarter, the nearby Apennine Mountains, those are some of the tallest mountains on the moon, cast dramatic shadows across the landscape going toward Archimedes. Wonderful thing to image, wonderful thing to sketch. You have the straight wall, Rupus rectal, near the crater Archachel on March 11th or 12th, Wednesday, Thursday again. During the waning phase of the moon, this appears as a bright line rather than a dark shadow, showing its nature as a massive lunar fault. It's actually a really good thing to get during the waxing phase and then get in the waning phase and get images or sketches you can contrast the two. Wonderful thing to do. I actually have a post to do on that with a sketch to it. Kind of saw it in the waxing stage. Double stars, if you love doubles, not the waxing, anyway, last waning. If you love doubles, this week let me recommend some of this guy's most beautiful doubles. There's 6 of them here. Algebra in Leo, the golden pair. It's in the sickle of Leo. It's widely considered one of the finest double stars in the sky. Bright golden yellow stars, magnitudes 2.4, 3.6, easy to see. Small telescope will easily split the pair and giving you a striking color contrast. So again, if you're only going to go for one double, go see Algebra this week. Castor Alpha Generarium, the sextuple system. It's high in the south in Gemini. Well, it looks like a single bright white star to the naked eye. A telescope reveals a brilliant binary with 2 white components. Their magnitudes 2 and 2.9. It's easily to split in most amateur telescopes. Castor is actually a sextuple system, 6 stars, but only 3 are visible through a telescope. You got Mizar and Alcar up in Ursa Major, up in the handle of the Big Dipper. Famous naked eye double used historically as an eyesight test. Mizar is the brightest star with fainter Alcor sitting right next to it. You should be able to see it naked eye if you had a decent. I can see it from my home here in MPAS 19.9, 19.8 skies. So anyway, it's in a small telescope. Will reveal that Mizar itself is an incredible double. Mizar A and B, making this a double-double system for binocular and telescope users. Parma and Gamma Virginis location is in the center of Virgo. Parama consists of 2 nearly identical yellow-white stars, magnitude 3 and 3.6. They orbit each other every 169 years. In 2026, they're pretty well separated enough to split by most small telescopes, appearing like 2 car headlights in the distance. You have Cor Coralie. It's below the handle of the Big Dipper in Canis Venatia. One of the most popular double stars for its wide separation and distinct colors. It's a bright white primary and a slightly copper or lilac tinted secondary. It's easy to split even with low power binoculars or even a very a small telescope. Iota Canceri, location in the faint constellation of Cancer that's between Leo and Gemini, often called the spring alberio because it's this beautiful color contrast, bright golden yellow primary and a smaller sapphire blue companion. Small telescope, medium power will give that to you. And then, of course, I've had this up for a while. March is the time. I've seen it 4 times now this season, but March is probably one of the best times to go after the pup with Sirius. You want to get it before Sirius, Canis Major, gets too low in the sky. So here's the chart for that. Planets visible this week. We'll go through the planets really quick. Jupiter, king of the sky, dominant, impossible to miss, high in the south-southeast sky within the constellation of Gemini, shining brightly, magnitude negative 2.2, visible roughly until about 3 a.m. A lot of times when I wake up in the middle of the night and go get a drink of water, I can look out a window to the west here and beautifully see it out there. Watch for the transit of the volcanic moon Io and its shadow across Jupiter's disk starting late on the night of March 13th, early on in the morning of March 14th. So Io will be transitioning. Venus, visibility very bright, magnitude negative 3.9, but it's very low in the west just after sunset. It's about 30-45 minutes after sunset when it's roughly 10 degrees above the horizon. Its visibility window is slowly widening as the month progresses and it continues to rise in the western sky. Saturn is very faint, magnitude plus 1.0. It's extremely low in the west right now. On March 8th, Saturn sits just less than 1 degree to the lower left of brilliant Venus. It's your best chance to see it before it's lost into the sun's glare later in this month. Uranus visibility is located in Taurus, just south of Pleiades. There's the finder chart I've been putting in. Magnitude plus 5.8. It's technically visible to the naked eye under a dark sky, but it's much easier to find with binoculars or a telescope, and it stays visible until around midnight. Morning planets, you got Mars, a difficult target this week. It's sitting very low in the east-southeast horizon just before dawn, having come out of the sun's glare. On March 14th, Mars, magnitude 1.1, will be in conjunction with Mercury. Talked about that already. Mercury is re-emerging into the morning sky after its March 7th inferior conjunction. It remains very low and faint, magnitude 2.5, making it a difficult sight for the Northern Hemisphere observers this week. Deep sky challenges for planets is Neptune. It's nearly impossible to see this week as it sits extremely low in the western twilight near Saturn. It requires a telescope and a perfectly clear flat horizon and good conditions to even attempt a sighting. I can't see it here. I got mountains to the west. If I go out into the desert, I'd probably have to go out to the knolls and just we got, because in the Great Basin we have chains and chains of mountains that go east and west. Don't know if I'll be able to grab that one again, but I've seen Neptune, saw it several times this winter, so can put that down. For this week, March 8th to the 14th, it's galaxy season on deep sky objects. I think I want to see if I can do, that's fine. Let's underline that though. It comes into full swing as the moonless sky offers great time to hunt down the faint and eye candy galaxies that are out there. I'm going to give you 4 eye candy objects and 4 more challenging objects to hunt down. And challenging, they're not really challenging if you're an experienced observer, but something to go after. And I'm going to break it down by 4 to 8-inch telescopes, 10 or greater inch telescopes, and then imaging. For these scopes, 4 to 8, here's 4 eye candy objects. Messier 81 Bode's Galaxy. It's a large bright spiral in Ursa Major. It's easy to spot. Shows its structure well on an 8-inch scope. M44, the Beehive Cluster, brilliant open cluster in Cancer. It's it's visible to the naked eye. It's spectacular at low magnification. Wide field is best. M42 Orion is still up there. It's setting earlier in the evening. Remains the ultimate showplace right now for its intricate nebulosity. Then you have M13 rising, Great Hercules cluster. Rises later in the night. Actually saw Hercules the other night when I was out with the puppy at about 3:30 a.m., 4 a.m. It's the brightest globular cluster in the Northern Hemisphere and begins to resolve to individual stars in 6 to 8-inch scopes. So if you're going to be out early in the morning, late at night, you'll probably get a view of that. Better view if you wait till a few more months. Challenging objects, M97, a faint planetary nebula in Ursa Major. Seeing the eyes, the 2 dark patches require steady skies and averted vision in 4 to 8-inch scope. M74, the Phantom Galaxy. It's famous for its low surface brightness. It's a face-on spiral. It's beautiful. I've seen spiral structure in it. It's in Pisces. It's very elusive. It requires extremely dark skies to get it. You got the Eskimo Nebula, the Clown Face Nebula 2392, small bright planetary nebula in Gemini. After dark, Gemini is up near zenith. Great time to go after that. Can you use enough magnification to see the parka hood detail in it? See that outer shell, so to speak. NGC 3003, it's an edge-on spiral galaxy. It appears as a thin mottled needle of light. Seeing the knots in its structure is a significant challenge if you have an 8-inch scope. 10-inch greater scopes, 4 eye candy, M51 Whirlpool is up now, Ursa Major. You'll see spiral arms, and you should be able to see the bridge to its companion, NGC 5195, as it becomes clearly visible. NGC 4565, the Needle Galaxy. It's a stunning edge-on spiral. It is beautifully stunning in Coma Berenices. It has a prominent dark dust lane that bisects the galaxy's core. Well worth the time to go after that one. You have M104, the Sombrero Galaxy, another bright unbarred spiral in Virgo, famous for its dark dust lane and central bulge. Arcane's Chain in Virgo, spectacular string of at least 8 galaxies in Virgo cluster that can be seen in a single wide field of view with less magnification and wider field of view. Challenging objects, the Leo triplet, NGC 3628, the Hamburger, 65, Messier 65 and 66 are bright. The third member, the Hamburger Galaxy, has a much lower surface brightness. And the challenge is to see if you can see the dust lane there. Able 2151 Hercules Galaxy Cluster. It's a dense cluster of very tight galaxies that test both telescope's aperture and the observer's patient in Hercules as that rises later in the night. Ixen 44, a compact group of 4 galaxies in Leo. It requires high magnification and excellent transparency to resolve clearly. I got more information on that if you look at the Leo observing guide that I put out a couple weeks ago. Barnard 33, the Horsehead Nebula. Grab it while you can. Sometimes March seems to be just the best time for me to grab that. I've seen it twice this winter. I'll go for it again if I get a good clear night at a dark sky. That's a classic challenge. Usually requires a large scope, hydrogen beta filter, and a perfect sky conditions to see that dark silhouette. If you can't see the flame, you're not going to see the Horsehead. If you can see the flame nebula, then you want to go after the Horsehead. That's kind of always been my guide here. For imaging, March is prime galaxy season. Here's 4 candy targets. The Leo triplet. It's a favorite for its variety, featuring 3 differently oriented galaxies, Messier 65, 66, and NG 3628, the Hamburger, in one frame. M101, the Pinwheel, a massive face-on spiral with a vibrant H2 star-forming regions that pop in long exposures. Love the Pinwheel. Probably will take the C star on it. The Rosette Nebula, a vast emission nebula in Monoceros, shaped like a rose, perfectly for narrowband or modified DSLR imaging. And then, of course, C 2026 A1 MAPS comet. It'll be passing near a group of galaxies in Cetus. We've mentioned that, offering really a beautifully unique wide field opportunity, photographic opportunity, imaging opportunity. Your challenging objects this week, the Integrated Flux Nebula, IFN, extremely faint dust clouds near Messier 81 and 82 that require many hours of exposure from dark sites. There's a challenge for you. Able 31, one of the largest planetary nebula in the sky, but incredibly faint because it's so large, diffused, requiring specialized filters, the O3 and the H alpha. Stephen's Quintet, ARP 319, a tight group of interacting galaxies, requires a long focal length and steady seeing to resolve them individually. And then Barnard 228, it's a dark wolf nebula. It's a dense dark hard nebula in Lupus that's best captured against a rich star field with very long integration lines. The news roundup, please see my post over at EadsAstronomy. There's the link I've done this week. There's some really interesting ones, I feel, on what a red star looks like before it goes supernova, several observing reports, an observing guide to Gemini, and a wandering black hole that is eating a star that really kind of sheds some light on black holes and supermassive black holes, not always at the heart of galaxies. And there's just other interesting stories. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have clear skies. Hope you find value in this. Hope you can use this info. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a great one. Let me just bring that up and stop the recording.